Hi everyone. In this video we're going to talk about list of values or LOVs, and we're going to see how can we create a service that will actually extract all the values from a specific list. So let's dive right in. As we can see here, we have the sales order form opened. So we have multiple LOVs to choose from, but let's take the first one, the customer one. So as usually, when you want to see the list, you just click on this button, and then since we want to see all the values, we're going to put percent here and click on find. And of course, as we can see, we're getting all those values, and we can see we have 939 choices in this list. Okay, so when we want to record a service that will return those values, we're basically just going to do the same thing. So I'm going to close this form, and we're back into the service manager. I'm clicking on the create button and I'm creating a form service. Let's call this get customers LV, and I'll just paste the URL here. I'm clicking on begin. And here is the login screen. So I'm going to put my credentials, connect. And here we have the form. So exactly like we did before we started the recording, I'm just clicking on this button. I'm putting the percent value here. Then I'm clicking on find. And then the only thing left to do is just to click here inside the table. As you can remember from previous video, when I'm clicking on an output field, when I'm clicking on a field, sorry, it basically creates an output parameter in the service. So this is our service. Let's go into the recording pane, and I'm going to save and exit. And let's see our service that was generated. So as usually, we have the service name. We can add a description. And there are a few points here I'd like to highlight. First is the customers field here. So of course, the username and the password are used for the credentials, but the customers is where we actually transfer the percent value. So sometimes this might be a good idea to make this field invisible. Since we don't want the users to change this field, we actually want this field to always stay the same. So in this case, when we make this field invisible, it will be disabled for the users. So the users won't be able to change this parameter, and it will always be percent. Of course, sometimes you do want to let the users to change it. Maybe you want to use a specific filter. Maybe you want to let them send some arbitrary text that they want to use. So in this case, of course, we'll open it, but in our case, it's fine to keep it invisible. In this case, we're actually reducing the number of inputs, hence reducing the number of potential bugs. Here in the output parameters, we have only one parameter. This will hold the values that we're getting from the list, but it's very important that we'll mark this field as multi-record. And the reason is, if a field is not a multi-record, it can only hold one value. Since we want this field actually to hold an array of values, we have to mark this a multi-record, and by that, notifying Service Manager, we're expecting to get more than one value for this field. And the last thing I wanted to highlight, here in the advanced details pane, we have the number of rows. Now this comes with a default number, in our case 200, and basically what that means that we will only retrieve 200 values from that list. Now sometimes you want more, sometimes you want less. For example, if this list contains a massive amount of values, maybe there is a performance issue you want to consider. So in this case, you actually want to limit it. Maybe you don't mind and you just want to get all the list. In this case, you'll just make this number bigger than it is, larger than it is, and we'll just keep it just as it is here. And we're going to click on Create Service. And now we're going to test this service. So as you can see, I'm not able to change this field, if you remember, because I marked it as non-visible. So the only fields I can change here are the username and the password. I'm running the test, and we're expecting to get the list of the values from the system. And indeed, that's what we got. Now, another thing worth mentioning here, as you can see, for every field, we have this long string that's divided by those commas. And if we will look in the form, we'll be able to see there are multiple columns here. We have a customer, registry ID, etc., an account description, an email. So this is actually coming back to us through this large string. And of course, if you use our visualizer to generate an app for the service, it will automatically match between all those parts into a table column. So that's all for this video. We were able to extract all these values by actually doing the same thing we'll do when we're using the form in our daily use. And in the next video, we're going to talk about how to select a specific value from a list of values. Thank you.